Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the 10 Minute Sales Multiplier. Just to mention that each and every one of these live streams that I conduct every Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is based on content from my newest book, The Sales Multiplier Formula. Simple strategies to multiply your sales by 4.68x, if not more so. And I am your host, Shawn Casemore. Appreciate you joining me here on another somewhat of a gloomy, cold day here where I'm located today, but am heading to warmer temperatures this week. So here's to hoping. This week, I want to talk about referrals. Now, the title of this is Asking Your Prospects for Referrals, and I'm going to get to that in a moment. But I wanted to share something with you that I think is important. Many of the sales teams, sales executives and leaders that I've been speaking with and working with, most importantly, are really focused on expanding sales, looking into new territories, new regions, new countries for new selling opportunities. And oftentimes they're somewhat stuck on how to best do that. I want to suggest to you the easiest way to generate new sales in new markets, new regions, new countries, etc., is to look to your existing customers or clients and ask them. I can't recall the exact date, but it was about probably 7-8 years ago now that a client of mine asked me, I'm setting this up, but you'll get the point in a minute. They asked me, hey, Shawn, do you know anyone that offers customized sales training that would be able to deliver this in the UK market, in the United Kingdom? And they listed the different locations. And I thought for a moment, I was like, well, let me see. Yes, I do. That would be me. And so they said, oh, I didn't know you traveled outside of or beyond North America. I said, well, then that's on me because yes, I do. I've been working with clients for almost a decade now, globally, from Australia to Mexico, obviously, United States, Canada, and well beyond. So I just, I put that out there that if you're looking to expand into new markets, really as a sales professional or even sales leader, take a look at the customers or clients you're serving and identify those that may have other divisions, other locations, other facilities, or even individuals that work within the company that work remotely from other countries. And that's where you can begin. And you simply ask, hey, do you know of, other companies such as this? You have to describe and be specific about who you're looking to connect with in this country, in this region. And you list off the region or regions you're trying to enter. You'd be surprised at how many contacts you'll be able to generate that way, which then becomes your starting point, right? Because you can reach out to those individuals to understand a little bit more about their specific needs. And the call is easy because you're not cold calling necessarily to try and sell them something. You're really calling with the recommendation of an existing client or customer who, by the way, can introduce you in most cases to learn more about their needs in their specific market. And if you position it well, you'll probably find you'll generate some business as a result. So I wanted to start there. There is a way to use referrals to get yourself an expansion of your sales into new markets, new regions, new territories, and even new countries. But the other point and the main topic of today, which I cover in my book, The Sales Multiplier Formula, is how to ask prospects for referral. Now, some of the sales teams that I share this with, I find there's really two groups of people. Technically, I guess there's three groups of people when it comes to asking for referrals from prospects. There's those that don't ask anybody for referral or very rarely do. It almost has to be the referrals offered to them. So therefore, this is something they're not interested in. We know that's not you because you're tuning in. Second group is those that do ask for referrals, maybe have a process for doing so or a system in how they apply it or when they ask. But beyond that, what they also do is they only ask existing customers or clients and only at a certain time after they've done some work, delivered the service, delivered the product, so they can be sure that the client or customer is satisfied or happy before they ask for a referral. Then there's the last group, and that's the group that I want you to fall into, which are those who ask literally everybody for referrals. In preparation for today, I was thinking about it. When I launched my business in late 2009, early 2010, my first two pieces of business were referrals. One was from a colleague and another was from a family member. And the reason that happened is because when you launch selling anything, first thing you do is call everybody you know, tell them what you're up to, and ask for their advice and guidance. And when you know, oftentimes they'll refer you to somebody. So that said, when you're speaking with a prospect. So this is not when you cold call them on the telephone or you're sending emails to them. This is your first meeting. It could be a virtual meeting, could be an in-person meeting. You simply mention to them, hey, as we move forward, presuming that we continue our conversations here, at some point I'm probably going to ask you for a referral. Just wanted to let you know, typically I work with companies, and then you describe the company. It's probably going to be similar to theirs. You describe the kind of person you like to work with. And then you say, and once you've described this, you say to them, it's probably too early to ask at this point. I usually like to smile and have a little bit of humor at that point because it takes away any uncomfort that they may have about giving a referral, although some will. So you just mentioned, hey, I know it's a little bit early. I just wanted to plant that seed, let you know, so it's not a surprise later. I'm very uncomfortable when I ask somebody later and they seem surprised I'm looking for a referral. In all honesty, that's how I generate business. I'm a sales professional, as you know. So just wanted to mention that. We'll circle back a little bit later when it's appropriate for you. So by planting that seed with every prospect you encounter, where you get to the stage of having a meaningful conversation, what you're really doing is setting yourself up to harvest that referral. Because what you'll find is, again, there'll be about 3 different outcomes from you planting that seed, okay? Outcome number 1 is, and this will be rare, but it can happen, where they'll say, you know what, I know somebody right now. Let me introduce you to Bob Smith. If you've done a good job, that will happen almost immediately. Let's say 5%, maybe more, but let's say about 5% will give you an immediate referral, okay? The predominance, the majority of individuals will be willing to give you a referral a little bit later in the process, which I'd suggest you add at a couple different stages. Number 1, you add it right before you give them a quote or proposal. Then you add as a follow-up after you've closed the business, which is kind of the norm. So notice we've asked for, by planting seeds and mentioning this, we've asked for referrals at a couple points before we ever close the business. The pre-proposal request is simply saying, hey, John, I'm about to send you a proposal or a quote. Again, whatever you're selling, we'll determine what that is. And you'll recall I mentioned earlier in our conversations that I will be circling back for a referral. Just wanted to circle back now and to see if anybody has come to mind. And then you sit in silence, see what they say. There's a good chance they'll say, no, nobody yet. That's okay. So, well, that's understandable. Just a quick reminder, I typically work with people in your position, companies, whatever, right? Describe the company, 50 to 250 million, 8 billion, whatever the company size is, but describe the sector, the company size, and the title of the person you're seeking, and just leave it at that. So what happens in doing this is you're, again, planting seeds. So a small percentage of people will be able to give you a referral and willing to give you a referral right out of the gate. Very small percentage, but it can happen. I've seen it happen, okay? When you mention it again at the point of quote or proposal, you're setting yourself up for a couple things. There, again, will be a small percentage that will say, yeah, you know what, I've been thinking about it. Here's who I'd suggest you connect with. The reason why is they've got to know you now. They're more comfortable with you, how you sell, who you are. You've earned some trust, and therefore they're willing to give you a referral. But what you're also doing is setting yourself up now with those 2 pre-requests that when you follow up after, you can do so whether you get the business or not. Because if you don't get the business, there's a chance they might feel just a tinge of guilt. I mean, if you've done a good job, they'll say, unfortunately, we can't move forward, or not at this time, or your price is too high, or whatever the objection might be, which, by the way, you can deal with. I've done other lives on that. But nonetheless, it's a great time then to ask again. And so by setting this up, by planting seeds, you're increasing the opportunity or the chances that you'll get a referral post-sale, but there's also a small chance you can get it pre-sale. And that post-sale is regardless of whether you make the sale or not. So if you are somebody who is in that earlier group I mentioned that is not asking for referrals, why not? Why can't you plant the seed and include these example scripts I've given you early in the sales process? All you need to do then is, after the sale closes or doesn't close, you simply follow up and request that referral. Hey, I've mentioned a couple times now, referrals is how I've generated a lot of my business. People refer me in where they believe that I might be of help to somebody in regards to, again, whatever your product or service is. So I wanted to circle back and see if there's anybody you've come up with. The key, however, the key method that you'll use or technique you'll use when you ask is to ask, number 1. Number 2, be specific, as we've mentioned. Number 3, don't say a word after you've asked. Sit there in silence. Consider that the first person to speak loses, however, whatever your mindset might be, but don't say anything. Give them a chance to think. Give them a chance to reflect on who might be the best person to introduce you to. You'd be surprised at how that time and the silence that often comes with it results in them offering you up a referral or giving you a very good reason why they're not willing to yet, which means once they share that with you, then you can circle back at a later date or depending on what their criteria is. So the common response if they say no might be, well, we haven't really worked together yet, so not really comfortable yet giving you a referral. To which you can say, hey, completely understand. How about this? If you decide to proceed, right, this is the pre-proposal. If you decide to proceed, I'll circle back with you in 3 months' time. Okay. If you talk to them after they've obviously received your quote and they've decided to proceed, same thing. They say, well, look, we really haven't worked together yet. I've signed this quote, signed the proposal, but haven't really worked together. Not really sure about introducing you. You say, no problem. I completely understand. And then just give them a date 3 months out. Okay. Or general date. How about if I give you a call in May to check in, then we're going to be having some conversations anyways. Would that work for you? So there you have it. Some strategies to ask for referrals from your prospects, planting seeds, increasing the opportunity to gain the referral after the sale, but there's a small chance you'll get the referral even before the sale. So hope you've enjoyed this. Another one of my 10-minute sales multiplier strategies based on, as I mentioned earlier, my recent book, The Sales Multiplier Formula, now available at all great places that sell books, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, etc. So hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, make sure you comment below this post on any of the strategies you've used to actually solicit referrals that have been successful, okay? And the other thing I'd ask is this. Make sure you visit my website. If you enjoy these strategies I'm sharing, you can join my Thursday Thrive community, where every Thursday I send out a e-newsletter that contains specific sales strategies that you can use. So you can join that right at the top of my website. There's a button you can click on. And from there, I'll wish you all the best in the coming week. And let's get out there and go sell something. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.